If you're currently a single man, stay single. Not because women are bad, not because relationships are evil, not because love is a lie, but because this phase you're in right now is one of the most powerful, rare, and misunderstood positions a man can occupy, and most men rush out of it before they ever extract its value. Society treats single men like unfinished products, like something is wrong, like they're waiting to be chosen, corrected, softened, or completed. But history, psychology, and reality tell a different story. The single man is not incomplete. He is unclaimed territory. He is unedited. He is dangerous in the best possible way because he hasn't yet traded his time, attention, energy, and ambition for emotional maintenance and compromise. When a man is single, his mind operates differently. His nervous system isn't constantly negotiating approval. His decisions aren't filtered through the question of how someone else will react. His risk tolerance increases. His focus sharpens. This is why most great transformations in a man's life happen when he is alone. The gym streaks begin when there's no one waiting at home. The business ideas come alive when there's silence at night. The discipline forms when no one is watching. Relationships don't usually build men. They reveal what men already are. And if you enter one before building yourself, you don't get built, you get exposed. Modern culture sells men the idea that a relationship is a reward, a milestone, a badge of success. But for men, relationships are not rewards, they are responsibilities. Heavy ones, emotional ones, financial ones, psychological ones. And responsibility without leverage is a trap. If you're still confused about who you are, what you want, and what you're capable of, attaching yourself to someone else doesn't resolve that confusion. It multiplies it. Two confused people don't create clarity. They create noise. There is also a brutal truth no one tells men early enough. Love does not save men. Purpose does. Men don't find themselves in relationships. They lose themselves there if they enter too early. A man without direction who enters a relationship doesn't suddenly gain direction. He hands the steering wheel to someone else. Slowly, subtly, without noticing, his routines bend, his standards soften, his ambitions get delayed. Not because his partner is evil, but because relationships reward comfort, not growth. They reward consistency, not reinvention. And reinvention is exactly what a man in his 20s and 30s desperately needs. Staying single gives you friction. Loneliness, boredom, frustration, sexual tension, self-doubt. These are not enemies. These are fuel. Friction forces adaptation. A man who never sits alone with his thoughts never confronts his weaknesses. A man who always has emotional cushioning never builds emotional strength. Pain that is avoided becomes pain that controls you later. Pain that is faced becomes power. When you stay single, you are forced to develop internal regulation. You learn how to calm yourself without reassurance, how to motivate yourself without praise, how to move forward without someone holding your hand. This is masculine maturity. There is also the economic reality. Modern relationships are expensive, not just financially but cognitively. Dates, gifts, trips, constant communication, emotional labor, all of it drains bandwidth. Bandwidth that could be invested into skill acquisition, income growth, physical dominance, and network building. Money is not just money. It is stored time and energy. When you are single, you control where that energy goes. You can reinvest aggressively into yourself. Most men never get rich, strong, or respected, because their resources are constantly being redirected toward maintaining emotional equilibrium instead of building long-term value. Another uncomfortable truth is that modern dating markets are not designed for average men to thrive emotionally. They are designed to extract attention, validation, and effort from men while offering uncertainty in return. A single man who opts out temporarily is not missing out. He is stepping back to observe the game instead of bleeding inside it. Distance creates clarity. When you're not chasing, you see patterns. You see incentives. You see why certain behaviors are rewarded and others punished. This understanding protects you later. Men who never step away from dating repeat the same mistakes with different faces. Staying single also protects your identity. Relationships subtly rewrite men. Your language changes, your priorities shift, your time fragments. None of this is inherently bad, but if it happens before your identity is solid, you become malleable. Men who enter relationships before forming a strong self-concept often end up living reactive lives. They respond instead of initiate. They adjust instead of lead. Leadership in relationships is not about control, it's about direction. And you cannot offer direction if you do know where you're going. There is a myth that being single makes men bitter, lonely, and disconnected. That only happens when singlehood is passive. When a man is single by default, waiting, scrolling, hopping. Active singlehood is different. Active singlehood is strategic isolation. It's choosing solitude as a training ground. It's building standards instead of chasing validation. It's saying no to short-term pleasure in exchange for long-term dominance over your own life. This kind of singlehood doesn't shrink a man. It sharpens him. Sexual discipline plays a role here too. When a man is constantly seeking sexual access, his decisions become distorted. He tolerates disrespect. He lowers standards. He prioritizes attraction over alignment. Staying single allows a man to recalibrate his relationship with desire, to stop being led by impulse and start being led by intention. This doesn't mean suppressing sexuality. It means mastering it. A man who controls his urges is not weaker. He is terrifyingly focused. There is also the issue of respect. Men are respected for what they build, not for who they date. Status for men is performance-based. When you stay single and invest deeply into your craft, your body, your finances, and your mind, you increase your leverage. Later, when you choose to enter a relationship, you are not seeking validation. You are selecting a companion. That difference changes everything. Selection is power. Seeking is weakness. Many men fear staying single because they fear being left behind. They fear time passing. They fear that if they don't lock someone down now, they'll miss their chance. This fear comes from scarcity thinking. A man who builds value does not age out of relevance. He ages into authority. Masculine attraction peaks later because it is tied to competence, confidence, and resources. Rushing into commitment early robs you of this trajectory. Staying single also allows you to observe women without emotional bias. You see how attraction actually works, not how it's described in movies. You see consistency versus chaos. You learn to differentiate between chemistry and compatibility. Men who learn these lessons alone choose better later. Men who learn them inside relationships usually learn them too late. This phase is also where you harden your boundaries. Boundaries are not formed by reading books. They are formed by being alone long enough to hear your own voice clearly. When you know what you will and will not tolerate, you stop negotiating your self-respect for temporary connection. Staying single gives you the space to define these lines without pressure. The uncomfortable reality is that many relationships function as emotional anesthetics. They numb dissatisfaction. They provide distraction. They make life feel full even when it isn't meaningful. Staying single removes the anesthesia. You feel the dissatisfaction fully, and that discomfort forces change. Men who stay single long enough often radically transform their lives because they can no longer hide from themselves. Eventually, singlehood stops feeling like lack and starts feeling like freedom. Your schedule is yours. Your goals are yours. Your failures are yours, and your wins are fully yours. There is no audience to perform for, no one to impress, just progress. This is where confidence that cannot be shaken is built. Confidence that comes from competence, not compliments. None of this means you should be single forever. It means you should be single until being in a relationship is a choice, not a need. Until you can walk away without fear. Until you add value instead of seeking it. Until your life feels full even in silence. When a man reaches that point, relationships stop being cages and start being partnerships. So if you're currently a single man, don't rush, don't panic, don't let social pressure convince you that you're behind. You're not behind, you're early, you're in the forge. This phase is not empty, it's foundational. And what you build here determines whether your future relationships drain you or elevate you. Stay single, build first, choose later.